Hi, I'm Bybreen Samuels and welcome back to another episode of Soul Stirring Astrology, where I give you my textured take on the world of astrology. Well, welcome back to my Saturn series. Today I kick off with Saturn in the Earth signs, meaning that I'll be starting with Saturn in Taurus. So when we're dealing with Saturn and we're dealing with Taurus, we're looking at earth qualities, and earth is a heavy substance. And in a sense, Saturn, but also earth elements, is really about how do we ground ourselves in our everyday reality. It's about providing the foundation and the stability that enables you to move through life. But actually that's just quite a singular reading in terms of what Saturn is about, because there are other qualities that, in order to really manifest the best of Saturn through Taurus, is an appreciation of the other elements. So firstly, when we're looking at Saturn in Taurus, it's, your ability to take care of yourself in the material world. What is it that you value in terms of your talents and your skills that enables you to generate an income? Or it could be that you're focused on being seen in a prominent position, so you want to be seen as a guru or an authority, or where can you establish a sense of gravitas in your world. Also, when we're looking at Saturn, and particularly through Earth, it's about this sense of service. So there's an association between the skills that you actually have and how you can turn those skills into something that enables you to serve other people. So when we're looking at Saturn here, there could be this fear of not quite having enough, not knowing how you're going to provide for yourself, not really appreciating what it is that you value. And so therefore, what happens when you've got this fear that underpins it, you can either work in a very excessive way because there's a fear of, being poor or living in poverty or not having enough money or anything that gives you a sense of emotional security. Saturn in Taurus, actually, if we think about Brexit could be seen as an example of Saturn in Taurus, because Saturn is about where one is trying to establish some level of sovereignty. And Britain, leaving the EU is about wanting to reclaim its sense of sovereignty and having ownership in terms of the direction that the country is moving in. It's also going to test Britain's capacity to negotiate deals, because when you've got Saturn in Taurus, which is about an earth sign and it's a money generated sign, on one level it's your ability to be a deal maker. This is also supported because you have Mercury. Mercury is the merchant. Mercury is about commerce. And Mercury is dignified in Virgo, obviously another earth sign. And so here it's about the ability to broker deals in your, everyday transactions. But if we take Brexit, we're looking at things on a national and international basis. It's quite interesting, the journey that Britain's going through re-Brexit, because it's taken an isolationist approach or a separatist approach. And yet the world, certainly from a social connection and communication point of view, since the advent of social media, has moved and continues to move more towards a collaborative engagement with each other, forming groups and being in networks and supporting each other. So it's very interesting. This whole Brexit, I call it a debacle, but hey, that's my view. But just looking at Brexit through the prism of astrology, Saturn in Taurus is a representation of that, because Britain is going to try and re-establish itself as a sovereign identity. It might be challenged when we're looking at it from a negotiation point of view, because, who is going to do business with Britain? Obviously there will be countries, but then Britain may be penalised because leverage was created within the EU. Now it wants to take a separation or separatist approach. They might be penalised fiscally. So we'll wait and see what happens there. But then looking at that in terms of your own life, do you have the skills whereby you're able to serve other people? So when we're looking at service and equating what it is in terms of your skill set, it would be good for you to have an appreciation of the different elements, because earth is so grounding and it's quite a dense energy, as I said. But if you want to be serving other people, it's about appreciating the nuances of water element, the nuances of fire, which is going to bring about the inspiration. Water is about the emotions, and air is about the capacity to think. And I think you need to bring all of this together as you move through and trying to ground yourself in Taurus. So there's this fear here. Saturn reveals the fear of not enough, not having enough, and how you're really trying to walk through the journey of mastery. Saturn in Taurus is about mastering your intentions, you know, being focused enough on your intentions that they supersede the fears that you may have. You do take this singular route, and the singular route is about how you traverse, how you transform, how you move away from taking a very fearful approach to life. But also when we're looking at Saturn in Taurus, it's about looking beyond the actual physical things. You know, do you have enough money in the bank? You know, do you have enough prestige? And you're only doing that because it aligns with, you think, what other people's expectations are for what it means to be prosperous and what it means to be successful. But you also need to be thinking about, you know, what does it mean to be mentally wealthy, emotionally wealthy, spiritually wealthy? Because when we're looking at the second house, it's all about what it is that you value. And you must in life value things more than just money. Money has its place, it's an important place. You might then take the contrasting view, is that you shun money. You know, you might have imbibed the mantra, do you think money grows on trees? And so therefore there's a sense that money is perceived as being evil or bad or wrong. So you've got to work out, you know, what it is that you value, because Saturn in Taurus is about your self-worth. What price do you place upon your self-worth in the physical world, but then, as I said, be it mentally, spiritually and emotionally? And there's also the moral fibre. I come back to Brexit because I want to contrast Britain with New Zealand, for example. So New Zealand's Prime Minister is Jacinda Ardern, phenomenal leader. I think Britain and the rest of the world could really pay attention to how she is leading her country. So if we think about Saturn in Taurus, and if we think about New Zealand, just that tragic incident where a gunman, you know, shot people who were, they shot them in church, he shot them in church while they were praying. So this massacre that took place. And one of the things that we saw was New Zealand's demonstration of its moral fibre. It showed the world what it really does value, and it was a practical demonstration of inclusion, the recognition of diversity, but very much this inclusive society. And so Saturn through Taurus is a way for you to see what it is that you value. How do you show your values beyond money, beyond tangible assets? And so what you're really being invited to do is to have faith. Have faith in what can seem to be the bleakest of circumstances or moments. Saturn in Taurus is really about testing your faith. Can you stay the path? And by staying the path, you are then going to discover what it means to have self-value, self-worth, and self-respect. So that's it, beautiful people. Those of you with Saturn in Taurus, let us know. How does it show up in your life? How do you work with your Saturn in Taurus? Are you in that kind of retentive energy, you know, holding on for dear life, you know, the end justifies the means, so that you do have some money in your bank account, so therefore you could come across as being quite Machiaveillian? Or actually, have you moved beyond the parameters of, you know, Saturn in Taurus is just about the physical things, and are you now living in the terrain of values? What in your life do you truly value? As always, put your comments in the comment box below. I love to jam with you, but also you can jam with each other. Feel free to like and share this episode with anybody in your network. And you can subscribe to my channel. If you'd like a reading, get in touch. bybreen@googlemail.com. Stay well until I bring you the next episode in the Saturn in Earth series, which will be Saturn in Virgo. Stay well, take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.